Welcome to the Good Good podcast. I'm your host, Dee Talley, mama, licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and embodiment coach. Here we dive deep into the realms of energy, consciousness, awareness, empowerment, and personal transformation to help you create a more vibrant and juicy life. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Good Good with Dee Talley. It's me, your host, Dee Talley. Woo! So jazzed. Okay. So there's like a whole lot of chaos happening right now because I am doing my first ever TikTok live as I record this podcast. So there's like a bunch of screens on me and like microphones all over the place. It's like there's a lot happening, but it is fun nonetheless. Okay, so today we are talking all things meditation. So from what it is, what the benefits are, why you would do it, how to do it, as well as what's in the way from people meditating. And I'm going to share my own experiences as well, because meditation is just such an amazing gift. And I can understand how there's some confusion as to like, who needs this? Why does anybody want this? All the things. So what is meditation? Okay, so meditation is basically the practice of focusing your mind, focusing your awareness. It helps with relaxation and clarity. Zen teachers would say, in Buddhism, would basically say that the purpose of Zen meditation is that there is no purpose, which can be a bit mind-boggling, right? So the whole benefit is to reduce your stress. Where your awareness goes is where your energy flows, is where things will open more in your life. So reduction of stress, which everybody is super stressed, right? So if we can lower our cortisol levels, then we can reduce our inflammation. And it also helps with memory and focus and concentration and clarity in just kind of reducing the noise. And think about it, there's a lot of noise. There is a lot of noise. So, and this kind of all leads together, right? So you enhance your self-awareness, you boost your emotional well-being, you promote that emotional regulation. And so it can help in other ways physically too. So it can help with sleep, it can lower blood pressure and enhance your immune system, even decrease pain, which is really, really interesting because most people think that if they've put focus on their pain or if they turn a little bit closer to themselves, that the pain will amplify. But what's actually really interesting is typically the pain doesn't amplify at all. You can have a clearer understanding of your pain and see actually that it changes, right? Because that's the one thing that's constant is change. So it can also support overall health and well-being. Like I said, strengthening memory, helping with creativity, and promoting neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity basically means that we can change the way in which our brain adapts. And we're not actually just stuck. We're not actually just stuck as who we are. We can actually make changes. I think of it like pathways in our brains, right? So if there's a neural pathway that's really, really, really ingrained, oftentimes this thing might run our show. But if you start to put your awareness towards other things, new pathways get formed. And so it doesn't mean that the old pathways no longer are there. It just means that you can think of it like, I think of it like, two tracks for wheels versus like an actual paved road. So it increases compassion for ourselves, empathy, improving relationships, reducing addiction even, and deepening inner peace and promoting oneness consciousness, which I've actually talked about quite a bit in previous podcasts, of course. So enhancing resilience, delaying cognitive aging, so many different reasons why meditation is just so beneficial and so great. But it's about being and not doing. And this is part of the discomfort because we live in a society of doers, right? Everybody's so much more comfortable when we're doing all the time. And so if we're being, it feels a little different from doing. So when I first started meditation, I had to almost trick myself. I had to pretend like I was doing in order for me to be, which, get there however you need to. I think it helps. It helps. Do whatever you need to do to kind of trick your brain into it. But that is honestly, truly what helped. And meditation for me, I only started when I was in grad school. And this was after all my trauma, and this was after being raped and being abused. And I had such aversion to myself. I had such aversion to myself, to my body. I could not even turn the mirror like a single millimeter towards myself. Like it was so, 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 so painful. And so over the years, little by little, working that way, working my way back towards myself. And when I actually started meditation, it was such a game changer for me as somebody who associated with being highly, highly anxious, having panic attacks, having anxiety completely run my life in a lot of ways. My family and I was raised to be extremely productive, extremely productive. And all of my siblings, we kind of grew up being like competing against one another. And so when you compete against somebody, you don't really root for them anymore, right? You don't really root for them. And so, that produced really productive individuals, but less of an ability on moving towards myself and more just trying to achieve to get the thing, whether it was the reward or the attention, et cetera, et cetera. So this was actually a really, really big change for me in my life when I actually started to kind of turn that mirror and turn it towards myself. And I was scared. That is a very, very scary time. And it felt like a lot of vulnerability, even with my own self. So meditation, it's about being and not doing. And it's about sitting with what is. And Zen teachers would basically say that it's about finding inner peace or truth in ordinary experiences instead of seeking out extraordinary, which I think that is like the key to happiness, is finding peace and truth and joy in ordinary experiences rather than searching out extraordinary experiences. I mean, by all means, have extraordinary experiences, of course, but it's just, yeah, I think ordinary experiences are more at our fingertips all the time, right? So in meditation, what I think is helpful to think about is less demand. Less demand. So it's not about like having a goal and then setting to achieve that goal. It's about zero demand and zero expectation and just sitting with what is. Again, like I said, very uncomfortable oftentimes to sit with what is and not try to change it. And that's another kind of social, like culturally ingrained thing in us. And there's different types, right? There's different types of meditation. There's mindfulness, which John Kabat-Zinn is amazing. And he was the founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction. And actually, the meditation that we are going to do at the end of this is a meditation from John Kabat-Zinn, except for I kind of changed it a little bit and I just expanded it and made it a little bit different from his meditation. So we're going to do that at the end. So mindfulness puts a focus on observing your breath and being with sensation without judgment, being mindful in becoming the observer. There's concentration meditation, which is focus on one single point of attention. There's loving kindness meditation, which is it's called metta. And this is a way to cultivate compassion and goodwill towards yourself and others. Now I'm telling you all these different types of meditation because I'm also going to share with you a completely free resource that you can download on your phone, and you can search any of these types on that app in order to get what you're looking for. So if any of these sound like, ooh, that sounds like something I would like, you can give it a try. Next is the body scan, and this is a progressive relaxation technique. So you put focus on different parts of your body to promote that relaxation. It's like bringing your attention to it towards relaxation. Transcendental involves repetition, so like repeating a specific mantra or a thought and repeating it and repeating it to help to settle the mind. And moving based meditation is like walking or yoga or tai chi. You can do this without needing to be seated, especially if you're a person that's like, wow, it feels like absolute death for me to sit for any length of time. And so really what movement meditation is just feeling every single part of the movement. So it's bringing your mind to your muscle and feeling you bring your foot up off the floor and feeling it go back down. That doesn't mean you have to do it painfully slow, but making sure that you are in your body when you're doing that. Obviously, that's the point, right? That's the point of meditation. So, what does it require? So, it requires a quiet space. It requires you to get comfortable. It requires you to, go a little yogic eyes or just soften your eyes or close your eyes and putting your focus on your breath as number one without a need to change it, with just a way to observe it. So again, you're not focused on goals. That's not the point of meditation. And if you're somebody who is a perfectionist, it would be a very interesting endeavor to begin meditation. Highly, highly recommended. Highly recommended, because it's going to help you see how your brain, like everybody's brain, is very monkey mind, right? So it's going to take you're going to keep having to bring your awareness back to your body over and over and over and over again. And this is just life, right? And that's the practice. That's the practice. But it's no need to change it, just observe it. I started by using guides. So guided meditation actually is much easier than leading myself through meditation. And that is because I didn't have that muscle. I didn't have that ability to keep myself kind of on track. And if that's true for you, then using guides, like guided meditation, is awesome. And there are so many, so many free resources out there to do this that are absolutely free, and you can filter it based on what you're looking for. Like, are you looking for a specific length of time, a certain type of meditation, etc. And I always say try different styles, because if you try one style and you're like, oh, meditation's not for me, that's just, there's so many different styles. It's just like exercise. Like if you try heavy weightlifting and you're like, oh shit, I don't like that, then doing something else like steady state exercise or yoga or something that's like lower impact might be more up your alley. So try different options. There are tons and tons of different styles out there. And how much do you have to do? So I would say any. Like you can benefit from absolutely any amount of time. But for a beginner, I would say 5 to 10 minutes a day. For somebody who's been doing it for a lot longer, I would say 10 to 20 minutes a day. Basically, the longer length of time that you give yourself in order to meditate, the deeper that you can go, essentially. I want to talk a little bit why people have aversion to meditation, which I have talked a little bit about, but I just want to expand upon a couple of different things. So the first one, number one, is I don't have time. And while that might seem true, you're never going to have time unless you actually make time, right? So many people feel like they're too busy with other daily responsibilities, like their work, their family, their commitments, and to dedicate time feels like too much. The second one is that it's hard, that it's difficult to quiet the mind, and there's a misconception. There's a misconception that in order to meditate, you have to absolutely quiet your mind, which is just so not true at all. At all. And that can lead to somebody feeling like frustrated or like they failed or that they can't do it. We all have a steady stream of consciousness, a steady stream of thought. And so the practice is continuing coming back to the present moment, even when our mind is going to take us forward or backwards, right? So it doesn't mean you failed if your mind has a steady stream of consciousness. All of our minds do, right? So the next is a lack of perceived results, because meditation is gradual. It's not like you're going to immediately receive tons and tons and tons of benefits. It's actually a practice. And those benefits might not be actually apparent for a little while. And this would be like, going to the gym once and then like coming home absolutely baffled why you don't have a six pack, right? You're strengthening the muscle memory. You're strengthening the muscle memory in order for you to have that in place. Next is that they're skeptic, or they misunderstand what it is that we're doing, or they might not fully understand like how it works, or they might think, oh, it's a little bit woo-woo, like what's that going to do for me? I don't understand how that works. They might associate it with religious practices, or not really know how it could be even relevant to their lives. The next is discomfort in stillness, which, yeah, this is for somebody who's in constant motion, and it needs very, very high levels of stimulation. Sitting still, being present with your thoughts, being present in the present moment can feel very uncomfortable or unsettling. And that can lead to an avoidance of wanting to be with yourself. Perfectionism, which we talked a little bit about. The truth is that nobody can perfectly meditate. Nobody. Even the most zen of zen people. You might think, oh, I'm doing it wrong. My posture isn't just so, and my breathing isn't just so, and I'm not as still as I need to, and I fidget around, and my mind is just racing the whole time. It's not about perfectionism, right? This is a practice. Some might also have emotional resistance. It can bring up, because our bodies are smart. Our bodies are smart, right? So oftentimes, and gosh, it's funny because themes, it's so common in practice today. I had so many people today who could not sleep. And it was a very specific type of could not sleep. It was like, I am fine throughout the day. I go to bed. I have trouble falling asleep, number one. I wake up, my mind's racing. I can't quiet my mind. I have to like do something, get up, go to the bathroom. I come back. I still can't quiet my mind. I finally get back to bed. I only sleep for a short time, and then I wake up again and the whole thing starts over. And pretty much for every single one of those people, they have significantly high stressors, and there isn't a lot of room for them throughout the day. There isn't a lot of emphasis on processing or stress management. And so this is that discomfort. This is that resistance. It's like, I'm going to stay moving. I'm running from something. I don't want to feel it. And like I said, when our bodies get quiet, oftentimes they start processing. And that's for your own benefit. That's for your own good, because if not, those emotions just stay stuck. They just stay stuck in you. But that can feel really, really overwhelming for somebody who does not have any type of intimacy practice with themselves and who is highly anxious or is uninterested in processing. There might be a lack of guidance or support surrounding meditations, or you might feel like, oh, I don't really know how to do this. I don't have an understanding of the techniques. Or you might feel like, oh, don't you have to pay for that? No, you don't have to pay for being quiet with your thoughts. Some believe, oh, that's not for me. That's not for me. And, you might think, oh, that's only for somebody who's calm or spiritual. That's not for me. I'm busy. I'm chaotic. I'm, X, Y, or Z, right? So they might feel like it's an unattainable practice if you feel like it's just for somebody who's calm or spiritual. And actually, the point of meditation is to become more calm. Next is physical discomfort. So sitting for any length of time or just like being with yourself can produce pain for a lot of reasons, whether it's stored trauma, whether it's just, injury, illness, etc. So it can be uncomfortable. And so that might deter somebody from wanting to sit with themselves. Next is fear of being alone with your thoughts. I mean, if that's not true for most people, because when you're alone with yourself and you're the observer, you basically are, you got that bird's eye view. You're seeing exactly what's happening in your mind. And that can be really intimidating or difficult if there's a high level of emotion, or if emotion processing is kind of new to you. So you might have fear of being with yourself and having a lot of discomfort or resistance surrounding either past experiences, past traumas, etc. And so I would say that is most people. Hello, that was me. After being raped and abused, I could not be with myself. I mean, the most pain. I could not even turn that mirror towards myself, and like even a millimeter. It was horrendous, truly, truly. And, repeated just time and practice and trust, building back trust with my system was the only way back. So next is maybe cultural or social barriers, where meditation might be seen as new age. It might be seen as like unconventional. Or if you don't hang out or you're not around people who are really familiar with it, they might think, and so you might think like, oh, I wouldn't want to do that. Technology and digital distractions. Isn't this just like the story of life? Like with the rise of digital media and with phones everywhere, screens everywhere, being constantly engaged with technology, and the idea for sitting with yourself without your technology, without your screens, because I think a lot of times our screens are like our support animals. It's like I'm uncomfortable and I have to sit at the doctor's waiting area. Boop, like that thing is on. Oh, I had this random thought pop into my head about this Google thing that I was gonna Google and I never did. Boop, right? I'm at a party and I don't know anybody. I'm gonna boop, right? And it might be very unappealing to think about, putting down your screen, especially if you're somebody who associates your screen with relaxation, right? Because a lot of us just kind of like doom scroll in the evenings as like a way to escape from ourselves, to escape from our minds. So interestingly, meditation is the opposite of that. So instead of doom scrolling or blowing past your emotion and past yourself, meditation is actually how can I get closer to myself? And like I said, for somebody who is extremely distracted with the screen, or if that's a really high like comfort area, that might be kind of difficult. I love recommending meditation for people because it truly is such a game changer. It is such a game changer. Why? Because taking steps closer to yourself reveals your authentic truth. It reveals what's actually going on with you. It reveals this ability to have that bird's eye view and see like what is actually going on here. right? How do I get closer to myself? How do I use this information to better my life instead of doom scrolling, instead of avoiding, instead of running? Without further ado, I would like to lead a meditation, which, like I said, I adapted this one from John Kabat-Zinn, who is the leader of mindfulness-based stress reduction. Listen, I'm not some type of guru, right? I am a licensed acupuncturist who takes patients, who sees a lot of anxiety, who sees a lot of mental health things. I share space with a psychotherapist, and I, through my own personal experiences, just see the benefits of how great it is to have an intimacy practice with yourself, to step closer to yourself. Okay, we are going to start. Sit in a comfortable position with your spine straight and your feet flat on the floor. And close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Or just soften your eyes and lower your gaze. Begin by taking a few deep breaths, feeling the air enter your body, fill your lungs, and then gently exhale. Do that again. Feel the air enter your body, fill your lungs, and then gently exhale. Let your breath settle into a natural rhythm. Imagine, as vividly as you can, your favorite mountain. This could be a mountain that you've seen before in person, a picture, or just a creation of your imagination. Feel the sense of the mountain's presence, its majestic, massive, unmoving quality. Notice how it remains still, grounded, rooted in the earth, despite whatever might be happening around it or on it. As you sit here, embody the qualities of the mountain, rooted, stable. Feel your legs, your arms, your spine, the structure of your body becoming strong and stable as the base of your mountain. Your head becomes the peak, the highest point, rising towards the sky. Allow yourself to feel tall, solid, unwavering. Feel where the edges of the mountain stop and where the other terrain begins. Imagine the different seasons passing over the mountain. Notice how the mountain remains unchanged through it all. In the summer, it stands in the heat, unbothered. The sun beats down on the mountain, and a light wind rustles the leaves on the trees. In the autumn, its slopes might be covered with colorful leaves that are red, orange, and yellow. And there's a crisp, cold scent in the air. In the winter, the mountain is blanketed with heavy snowfall and twinkling ice that dangles from the trees. It's quiet, as most of the animals have receded to their homes and hunker down. In the spring, new life blossoms. as new plants start to sprout and the ground thaws out. Notice the weather changes, storms, rain, sun. The mountain experiences it all without changing its essence. It remains as it is through all these conditions, stable, grounded, majestic. Recognize that just like the mountain, you too can embody stability and stillness. No matter what happens in your life, the stress, the challenges, the joys, the sorrows, you can remain grounded and stable. Just as these changing weather patterns pass by the mountain, it remains sturdy, strong, grounded. Feel the strength within you, a calm center that is unaffected by external circumstances. When faced with the storms of life, you can return to this place of stillness, finding peace and resilience. Take a few more breaths, feeling the air moving in and out of your body. And when you're ready, slowly bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Gently open your eyes or lift your gaze. Carry this sense of stability and calm with you as you move throughout your day, remembering that just like changing weather patterns in the mountain pass, the storms of life pass too. Gosh, I love that one. I really do. I think that is a really, really good one. And I just wanted to say that filming a live podcast is really uncomfortable for me, but I am trying hard to push myself in that way, because I actually really like interacting with people. And, I think that's a limitation of the podcast, is that it's just me talking on a mic. Although I am going to be adding guests pretty soon, but this is only episode 13, so it's pretty new. But anyway, for anybody who listens to the podcast, I just want to say thank you. I see all of your comments. I see all your reviews and everything, and I'm just beyond grateful. I'm beyond grateful to, I don't have a very big platform at this moment, and it doesn't matter. I talk to one person like I talk to a million people. I almost forgot to tell you about the free resource. So if you go to your app store, whether you have Apple or you have Android, you search an app called Insight Timer, completely free. Thousands and thousands of free guided meditations for you to check out. You can search any of the terms of the types. You can search by time. You can search by the person that you're listening to, because for me personally, I like to listen to somebody who I like their voice. My recommendation is that you shouldn't listen to somebody's voice that you find off-putting, or you don't want to listen to it for an extended period of time. The goal is to have a sense of, relaxation and calming. So if you don't find that of the person's voice, I would say that is a red flag and to try again. And then just keeping in mind that it doesn't mean that meditation isn't right for you if, like, the first one you try, you're like, oh, that sucked. Right. So I think just having an open mind and being able to explore this completely free library of different meditations is really worthy. And truly, I believe that when done consistently, meditation can change your life. So, yeah, that is all I have for you today. And thank you so much for joining me. This is The Good Good with Dee Talley. Bye.